Hi, today I am interviewing WinDEU, who is a legendary mods person in the ITG community and known for a bunch of other stuff. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we start this the same way. We start all interviews here. How did you get into dance games?
Um, so I think the very first time I ever saw a dance game was like probably in 2000, maybe even 1999 from GameWorks down in like my local area. I didn't play it at the time, but I saw it and it looked neat. I just was too intimidated at the time. And then there was a local arcade at my mall, which is conveniently like a 5-minute walk. The arcade's not there anymore, but it's definitely where I grew up playing dance games. I played my first song just on a whim, got like a D on a one. we all start from the basics, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and yeah, just from there, like thought the gameplay was really intriguing. It's a good way to exercise, and I just like, just stuck at it for a week. Turned into months, turned into years, and now, uh, I think I've been playing for like almost 2 decades now. If
Two
I,
decades. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's 2020, right? So if you started playing in 2000, damn.
yeah, I think yeah, around 2001 is where I actually started really playing. So
hmm what
it's
what mix did you play on?
oh yeah, my first mix was third mix.
Third mix. That's a classic. That's a good one.
Yeah, it was I think mostly DDR, either DDR USA cabinets or DDR third mix. I want to say those were the two big ones.
Okay. So then, how did you start getting into ITG?
ITG. So I've been playing DDR for a couple years at that point, um, and I just, back in the day, forums were the big thing. Aside from like before, Discord, Facebook, and most social media was a thing. I just was generally part of the communities there. So there's like some Pacific Northwest dance game communities. Obviously, I'm not from there. I'm from like the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it was a place where people could talk dance games. So there's that. There was DDR Freak, if you remember that site.
I do. I do
That's
remember that site.
yeah. So yeah, just a few different games, and then yeah, ITG comes along. I think it was like early 2003 or something, and it was just another forward panel dance game that I got pretty intrigued by. There were a few people in the Midwest community that I knew in person, and I think one of them knew one of the graphic artists for it, Plague Fox, if you know that name.
Yeah, he was at some random ITG tournament when ITG2 was still a thing at Laser X.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I remember that. So yeah, at one point I think what the deal was my friend invited me over where Plague Fox was actually beta testing ITG1 before it was like really a thing.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, I consider myself pretty lucky to have that kind of connection, and I played on it for a while. Definitely way harder charts than I was used to in DDR. I think Extreme was the basically the final mix before ITG. So the hardest things we had back then were like Paranoid Survivor, Brax, Oni, Legend of Max, all that stuff. And then ITG comes along and kind of just completely changes the meta, in my opinion. It has some different tech involved, so like there's laterals with holds, like you see in Bend Your Mind, I want to say. And speaking of, there's also hands. Um, there's also mines, and then obviously the big thing that caught my attention was marathons.
Okay. Really? Weren't those an extreme though?
Yeah, they had courses. A vast majority of them didn't have modifiers. The one that stands out definitely is the one called Trick.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, it was 5 songs. So the first was on Boost or Excel. The second one was on Break, I think, or Decel.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Wave or Expand. Uh, and then there was Max 300 at 0.25x.
What?
Yeah, it was a completely different experience than just like playing your typical nonstop course in the game, which just had either if it was an only course, it was forced 1x, or nonstop you could pick your speed mod. But other than that, it was just vanilla stuff. But yeah, then with ITG marathons, you have dynamic modifiers in addition to like all the other Stepmania stuff that you can pick as far as like, dizzy, tornado, mini, flip, and probably like 30, 40 plus modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what definitely got me super intrigued as far as like why I found ITG so interesting and still do, is just the dynamic nature of marathons, just modifiers changing mid-song. I was just like, it blew my mind. It was a whole new concept at the time.
Yeah, that also blew my mind. Like the first time I played Driven, was it? That one's a big one. So what were your experiences with like the early marathons?
I mean, that's pretty much all the meta was at the time. So like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever back then. There were definitely some standout marathons. Driven, like you said. I guess a good comparison would be like it's the trick of ITG, like the trick Oni course from Extreme. Just comparing like what Trick did in Extreme, comparing to what Driven did in ITG2, if that makes sense, as far as like how far beyond anything else it was, or like how different it did things. So yeah, there's Driven. There were a couple other pretty interesting courses. I know there's one called Eat Your Feet. That was a fun one. It had some interesting modifiers, like definitely a little bit more out there than some of the other ones. But yeah, definitely far and away Driven was like the big one as far as like what it dared to do.
So then how did you start getting into modding your own courses?
So I think it was ITG Freak back at the time. Those forums, that combined with I think just the official Stepmania.com forums. I think this is before ITG2. I just started like messing around with modifiers and trying to play on them. Like for a while, I like really tried to get into Flip, and I could still read it pretty decently, I want to say. So there's that. I just messed around with other static modifiers like from the options menu, and then I saw people talking about like how you were able to do this in Stepmania. Like I saw the the format of how those files worked and how like ITG marathons worked. So I mean, I had nothing to do back then aside from just like school, work, dance games.
Yeah.
So and yeah, playing ITG1 marathons back in the day at that beta test like really like set something off in my brain. Just like I want to mess around with these. So once I found out like what the format was and just asking around how everything works, like I just started experimenting with my own stuff.
Did you work with any of the Roxor devs on, or whoever wrote Driven? I'm guessing Chris Foy.
Yeah, Foy was the one that wrote Driven.
Okay. Did you ever like talk with them on making courses?
I did. So ITG3 was going to be a thing.
Yes.
I was actually going to be a part of it, making some courses for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think, aside from that, I was brought on to just, I guess unofficially, do one or two double starts. Actually, that was a thing that happened just with various community members, because ITG was getting a pretty big, like, national community and following at the time. So there were a few different doubles players. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent. But,
oh no, I love tangents. Keep going.
Yeah, there are a few different double players just around, and I think the like the main doubles person for ITG, MJ. Yeah, Matt Amirzian, I think is his name. He did like 90, at least 95% of like all ITG2 doubles. That like he was a real powerhouse.
Oh wow.
But yeah, he reached out to us, and we made various charts. I think if you see the ITG3 files that are out there now, I have one of them. TJ3 has one of them. That's a name that hasn't been around for a while, but yeah. Back on the original point, though, I was going to do some marathon work for ITG3. That got canned, and then it basically turned into Pump It Up Pro 1. That's like the spiritual successor, I want to say.
Okay.
And I was brought on for that. So yeah, I did quite a bit of marathon work, known as progressive mode in Pump It Up Pro, for Pro 1 and Pro 2. I think Pro 1 is my more like prominent work.
Are they similar to the ITG marathon courses that you would do now?
Yeah, the way ITG marathons worked back then, it's literally the exact type of file and formatting. So, like .crs files. But yeah, the files we use nowadays, we've basically strayed away from .crs files. So, I don't think StepMania 4, which Pump It Up Pro 1 and 2, I think, were based off of, support that.
Which courses did you do, if you remember? If I happen to find a Pump It Up Pro 1 machine to play on.
Oh man, I did quite a few. I think the end number was I made 13 courses.
Oh wow, holy shit. That's a lot of courses.
There's one called Up and Down. That was an unlock. Definitely one of the more eccentric courses I made for it. That focuses on like just constantly reversing and unreversing all the columns. Not all at once though, like just like in and out.
Okay.
So like
when you say reversing, what do you mean?
Like the modifier reverse when the target's at the bottom and then the arrows come from the top.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what Up and Down focused on, like reverse and not reverse, but like constantly switching all over the place and using other modifiers like split, cross alternate, which essentially does reverse on the specific columns, and it just keeps going back and forth. So there's that. There's another one called Victory, which is the boss course. It ends in VVV, or Vertex Cube.
Oh.
Yeah. I named the course Victory actually because I don't know, I was trying to figure out a cool name for it, something to do with like myself. And so I'm half Greek, and I looked up kind of like what my name means in Greek, and apparently it stands for victory. So
Okay, yeah, it's kind of cool, and like it's a suiting name for like a final boss course as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Victory. That's cool. I had no idea I was gonna get Pump It Up Pro 1 lore out of this interview. This is such a fun little thing.
Yeah. So there's another one called Understand, where if you're familiar with the Final Audition series from Pump It Up, they all, I think literally every single one of them uses that that voice sample, like, I will make you understand.
Yeah, those. I know
Yeah, so that's what I was going for there. There's another one called, like, Banya Beats, where it's just, like, put together 4 of Banya songs. Banya Classics, that's what it's called.
Banya Classics.
Yeah, there was another one in Pro 2 that I'm really proud of.
Okay, which one was it?
It's called Make Haste. So, in Pro 1 even, there was this mod called Accelerando, where it dynamically changes the rate mod, and like the better you do, the faster the song goes, and if you start missing, the song slows back down.
Like Like the rate of the song or the speed mod of the song?
The song rate.
Oh,
So the song itself speeds up and slows down.
okay.
And yeah, the gimmick of that course was that so like if you were to play the song normally, like if there was no haste slash accelerando mod, there was, for each song, there was a set of modifiers that very, very slowly turn on, and if they fully activate, then the chart becomes unreadable. So what haste or like accelerando does is it speeds up the song, but it doesn't affect the rate of the attack rate of the mods. So like you have to play well and finish the song faster than like the normal elapsed time of the song before it gets unreadable.
Oh, that's cool. So you're like racing against it being unreadable. That is a really cool gimmick.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I didn't do any of the charts. Well, yeah, for the base game for Pro 1, they later had a patch that added a few songs as well as half double. And then between me and Jason Dredd, who did Nightmare charts and some crazy charts, those were the like hard difficulty for single and double name back then for pub. We basically split the work for half double across like all, I don't know, 100, 150 songs or so.
Oh wow, that's a lot of charts.
Yeah.
So the Pump Pro, those were like the old ITG devs, right?
Pro 1 was, yeah. Pro 2, I think there were a few different, like, I guess, management shifts. Kyle Ward was no longer with it. He was the director for Pro 1, but not Pro 2. I think Glenn Maynard, if you know that name, one of the main programming engineers for Stepmania itself.
Okay.
I think he was the lead for Pro 2.
Okay. So then after ITG or ITG Pro 2, was this done like in parallel with your other mod charts, like your WinDEU Hates You series, or before, after? Just to kind of get like a timeline of the modding career.
I believe Pro 1 came out in 2007, Pro 2 in 2008, I want to say. And then the first WinDEU Hates You tournament, like the actual official tournament at U of I that I held, was, I believe it was fall 2010.
So then what was your inspiration on why you created the WinDEU Hates You series, and actually just sight read tournaments in general for U of I?
Oh yeah, I know exactly why. So if you know Kitsune, as he went by previously, I think goes by Minty Dragon now. So he held SRTs for a while. Like, he actually just called it SRT. I think that's because of his stuff is why that acronym stuck. He held sight read tournaments at U of I for a while. He was up to, I think, the 5th installation. I want to say this was in spring of 2010. And for his third stage, he used, what was it? It was that silly mashup of that, like, slap chop, rap chop song.
I've heard of this chart.
Yeah, I think I told you about it, like, pre-interview.
Yes. Definitely.
So yeah, there's some lyrics, like, from the original, like, I think it was an actual infomercial, now that I think about it. Like, it wasn't a parody.
Oh, really?
Which makes it even funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone, like, I think their names were, like, Schmoyo. They, like, vocoded and songified it. And then Mint wrote a chart to it. And every time the guy, like, I think his name is Vince or whatever, sang off, like, a name of a vegetable or a fruit, like, that would appear in front of the arrows, just on the screen right there, like, here's a potato. I think that was the first one, and then you just, like, see a potato spinning into, like, the center of the screen in front of the arrows. I'm like, oh, so this is a thing ITG2 can do, huh? I didn't know this. So, yeah, I got inspired by that. I approached Mint and was like, do you mind if I, like, run a tournament parallel to yours? Like, just maybe before or after years on the same day, but completely focused on FG changes. Actually, at the time, I think FG changes were more my focus than the mods were, because like I guess that was just my new toy to play with at the time, and I really wanted to just mess around and see what can be done. And I think a couple of my tournaments kind of have that mentality when I was making them. I know one of the later ones, I think, was called Infinity Plus One, which I have silly names for all of them.
I always love all the names.
There was a Pittsburgh tournament where like everyone can submit their sim files. It was basically like a community-driven sim file pack tournament, and I know Zetarex made a few where he took like the actual models like of the note skins from the game or the theme. I don't know how exactly it worked, but yeah, that was another instance where I was like, huh, you could do this, huh? All right, well, and then like I just went from there and like went ham on just that concept, for better or for worse. I know, like, looking back on some of the files, is like, it probably wasn't the best idea, but you know.
You get a new toy, you gotta use it, right?
Yeah. That was very much my mentality back in the day.
Plus, honestly, like, and even back then, at least to me, like when I would play those like on the Dedicad near me, they were all new things, so you couldn't like overuse it. They were still novelty. Were you the only one really making these mod courses? Because it seemed like a very small niche community for a while.
I definitely was not the only one who made courses.
Okay.
So there was another big name back in the day when I was first messing around with course files. Brother Mojo, if you know that name.
I've heard it a lot, come up a lot.
Yeah, he's actually still around. I think he still makes new stuff. He has been making new full difficulty sim file packs for single and double. Definitely been playing his stuff a lot. And yeah, he's still doing mod stuff as far as I know. He was definitely the other huge name. There were a few others. I know, I want to say Necrosis was another big name. I'm not 100% sure on their work, but I definitely know more about Brother Mojo's stuff.
Okay.
And I definitely, like, his stuff very much shaped my stuff back in the day, as far as, like, because, like, I was just going based off the ITG1 and ITG2 meta, where it's just like, okay, like, at this part of the song, turn on mods. And, like, there wasn't really too much more to it. I didn't really consider, like, attack rates, like how fast or how slow mods turn on. Yeah, that's definitely, I want to say, where Brother Mojo stepped in, as far as, like, really making mods go to the song. Like,
like the movements itself of the arrows and like the mods.
Yeah, he definitely still has, really, a knack for really emphasizing what the song is doing with what the arrows are doing visually. I think the course name was Future. I definitely recommend that one as far as some of his older stuff. It's a course file, 4 songs, just standard course. But yeah, I definitely remember that one, especially the last song, being like, all right, this is really cool. I really got to get more into this. I think that course alone just shaped how I approached making mod files.
Oh wow, it must be a really good course then, if it changed everything for you.
Yeah.
How did you like get people to play mods back in the day? Like, cause they're kind of a pain to put on a machine.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't really too much as far as like accessibility goes. Like, there was already, like, hacking stuff onto a Dedicab, and then yeah, like you said, Courses are even more of a pain. I don't even remember how we figured out how to do all that because like it's a different process. It was very weird. But yeah, I just I had a few friends that were interested. I just took videos of stuff, put it on YouTube channel, and I think it just eventually like slowly grew from there, and
Okay.
like people got interested like by proxy, just watching that stuff.
I do think it is the objectively like most interesting to watch part of dance games. Um, like it's just really fun to see the mods, even if you like don't know dance games at all. I've noticed a lot of
Yeah.
people really enjoyed watching that. So then I've noticed that not so much in the beginning, but like as the kind of the U of I tournaments went on, the courses started having like a like lore to them.
I'm gonna have to actually credit Mint for that again. The person who did the original SRTs. Yeah, I think around SRT 5, which is the one before I started my Media Hazy course tournaments. Um, we were all big Toho fans back in the day. Like Toho was our huge thing, and one of the things that like uh, was a shared interest, basically just kind of like dance games. And then I guess Mint just decided to have a story with it at one point. If you want to look at it this way, it's kind of like a fan fiction, but with dance games, like interactive dance game fan fiction.
Yeah,
Which
I always thought that was
that's
cool.
fun.
Like it was always fun to see. Like I mean, the mods course themselves are fun too, but then they'd be like, oh, someone hacked the Matrix. I don't remember the specific storylines. I just remember being very enthralled by it. Being like, oh, someone hacked the Matrix. Now you got to do the mods file and then save the day or whatever. And I thought that was so fun.
Oh yeah, we both had so much fun with it, and just like coming up with stories and just having mod files that kind of fit with the story that we're going with. Like, I think it all very much like complements itself, and is like definitely bigger than the sum of its parts at the end of the day.
Hmm. Absolutely. So uh, is all the lore connected to like what the UKSRT people do, or do y'all have like your individual lores? And like, do you have like lore meetings to discuss continuity?
I know that UKSRT is more or less its own thing. Mods Boot Camp that I did after the most recent WinDEU tournament. There was Mods Boot Camp 2, which Condor Talon did. And then there was Mods Boot Camp 3, which Taro, Daiki, and Hal did. Plus, like, a bunch of other, like, artist friends of ours. I want to say Mods Boot Camp 3 is, like, kind of the culmination of it all. It's funny, because, like, that was kind of the theme of the tournament. Like, it's literally, like, a call to Smash Ultimate where, like, the line, everyone is here.
Hmm.
And they literally had sim files for, I think, more or less every single character that appeared in, like, the previous tournaments, like When You Hate You, the Monster Mash 3 tournament. I think, yeah, Mods Boot Camp 3 was just the culmination of it all, as far as, like, asking us permission, like, hey, can we use these characters from previous tournaments? That was definitely, like, a huge labor of love, and, like, probably the biggest compilation of, sim files and characters that we all created and, like, kind of took from universes like the MLP universe, the Toho universe.
Hmm.
So there's that. But yeah, as far as UKSRT is concerned, that I think is a standalone thing, more or less.
Gotcha. So then, how would you say that your, I guess, style of mod charting has changed throughout the years?
Well, as far as like this like mod sim files as a whole, I've definitely eased up a ton on the difficulty of the steps themselves, because that's been a learning experience for me, just going forward from the tournaments. Like my earlier stuff for like especially the tournaments. The charts wouldn't be really easy. They would be like at least a 9-footer or above. Like I think all the way up to like 12s or maybe even low 13. And like I eventually realized that that's asking a lot of the player.
Yeah.
Like not only playing like an ITG 12, but also like trying to parse whatever I'm making the notes do as well.
Mm-hmm. That is a lot. Especially because I think the predominant way people do mods is like keyboard. Like it doesn't seem to me that a lot of the mods community is like sitting out here passing 17s and stuff like that.
Not on pad, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
We're definitely like more, I guess, laid back pad players for the most part. I think the general gist is like passing anywhere from, I don't know, 7s to 13s, 14s. It really depends from person to person. But I think that's the general skill level of what you might see just in the UKSRT Discord community.
A question I have for you: how do you like? Do you worry about like where the player has to look to like understand the mod when you make your mod charts?
Yeah, very much so. Whenever I make mod charts, I think this can really apply to anyone making mod charts as far as like you have to try and look at it from the perspective of like someone who's seeing this from the first time. You can very, very easily get a developer bias and just be like, oh well, I'm hitting this no problem, so like other people surely will be able to hit this no problem. And that's, I mean, not even just for dance games, but just like games in general, right? Like that's just how it works. Like, of course you're gonna know how everything works because you literally made it.
Yeah. You know the trick,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, and there's a few, I guess, rules from a player perspective that you can follow. I think one of the biggest things is trying to read by note color. That helps determine like the not only the spacing of the notes, but like the order of the notes, right? So like notes can be doing whatever, but like if you see red, blue, red, you can like try and get your brain to be like, okay, I'm seeing these 3 notes, and they're gonna be in this sequence, and I'm gonna try and hit them like this, like no matter what they're doing, more or less. So note color is a big thing. Arrow direction is a big thing because there's things called like column swaps where you can do like flip, which flips like the order of the columns from like left down up right to right up down left. Yeah, that's the order. Just literally flips it back. Invert, which flips the 2 left columns and the 2 right columns. So up, down and up are on the outsides, left and right are on the insides now, which is, in my opinion, way harder than flip.
Yeah.
It's just a few like tricks here and there that you have to apply as a player on the fly to help you keep your bearings. Essentially, when you design mods as a mod creator, that's kind of the mindset you have to go into as well, I think.
That's very interesting. It's a whole wide world out there of these mod charts.
Yeah.
So then, I guess for newer players, both people who want to, I guess, make mods and who want to like learn how to start playing mods, what would you recommend they do?
I mean, yeah, either or. You can join the Discord server for UKSRT. Fairly sizable server, but it has like pretty much all the resources you'll ever need. As far as like getting into playing mod charts, there's a huge Dropbox database of OpenITG, which is like the standard vanilla ITG2 files. Things that you can literally just throw on a stock ITG2 dedicab. And then there's the non-ITG files, which you'd need like special software for that and like you know, just a rigged up cabinet if you have that kind of setup.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's two like huge data like Dropbox databases that separate those two types of files. There's that, and then there's like I said, resources, different channels in the server to help you out with like if you have any questions. Like I know there's a coding workshop channel that they just made not too long ago, which is like um, I think the channel title is like "Help! How do I make the thing do the thing?" Yeah. So it's like, yeah, coding questions go there. Yeah, there's definitely like a link to NotITG itself if you want to download that. Like that's like pretty much front and center.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess bottom line is if you want to explore the mod making world of dance games, definitely join the UK SRT Discord. It's the best resource you'll ever find, I think.
Okay. Completely unrelated to that. So I've noticed that kind of like in the way that, and this is dying nowadays, but like in the way that like the FA and stamina community are kind of distinct from each other. The mods community doesn't usually have a lot of overlap with the other communities. Why do you think that is?
I guess like I don't mean to like downplay anything like any of these communities, but like it's a very different thing. Like not only as far as playing mods, but like making mod charts as well. Like I mean, to be honest, it is an undertaking. It is an endeavor. It takes a long time to make a mod chart
How
compared to vanilla charts.
if you had to estimate how long it takes you to do like a 2-3 minute mods chart?
Well, the most recent one I did took me about a week or so, and that I want to say that like is considered extremely fast for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just depends on I guess motivation, commitment, and like if you have like your ideas like pre-written down in your head. Um, yeah, it can take anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months.
Oh, geez. That is really
Yeah.
long.
But yeah, speaking of like, as far as mod charts only taking a couple days, that's another thing that is held in the UKSRT Discord, something called Mod Rush, where it's essentially like a game jam where like you have a certain amount of time to make a mod file from scratch, and like there's usually some kind of theme to it. I know one of the most recent ones was called Mod Rush DX, where your only limitation essentially was like it has to be a song that originated from Beatmania 2DX.
Okay.
It really, I think, helps with motivation and ideas, because like that's a thing that I was struggling with when I first got into specifically not ITG modding. Was like I have all this freedom to do whatever I want now, but I have no idea where to begin.
Oh.
You know?
Oh no.
I guess it's kind of the less is more approach, where like if you have some kind of restriction applied, like you have like a better direction of where you want to take this thing.
Yeah. It helps like pare down the amount of choices you have to choose from.
Yeah, just trying to get rid of that like decision paralysis.
Yeah, definitely. How do you, I guess, what's the process of like an idea for a mods chart conception and then getting it actually down on like paper? Do you, do you just like know like, oh, I want it to look like this, and then you can like make it happen, or do you just kind of get something that's close?
Sometimes if I'm lucky, it does happen one to one as far as like what I envision it like in my head, where it looks like on paper and like in the game. I think yeah, the most like prominent ideas come when I first listen to a song, which is kind of interesting. But like, yeah, I listen to a song and then like there's some parts of it that really catch my ear, because yeah, the way I approach mod files is like I usually attribute certain sounds or like types of sounds that a song might make to visuals that like the note field might do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think people do the same thing for like step charting in general, but this is like instead of like, oh, the sound's a crossover, it's the sound is a flip, bouncy, turny
Yeah.
vertex drop or driven drop. I don't know. I don't know how to like discuss the mods.
No, yeah, it's really like at its core the same kind of concept as far as like just accenting parts of the song with like what you're doing with it is either uh, as far as the chart goes or as far as the mods go or even both.
Okay, so this song is Boundary
Yeah.
from WinDEU, the musical, the last song, and also a song that I failed and never passed, and I failed the song. You've taken many of my credits at Brony Zone on this one.
Sorry.
It's all good. So okay. Is there what's the context behind the song?
um, as far as like lore or
Lore or anything that you want to say about it? Maybe like your inspiration, your general inspiration, or the thing that you were going for with it.
okay, yeah, we were like huge Toho heads back in the day, right? So I made up some kind of story. I'm trying to remember what it was exactly, but I know. So each song had like a character that represented it, right?
Mhm.
They were all Toho characters back then. I remember this one being Reimu, and her like special ability. It's like every Toho character in that universe has some kind of like unique ability.
Mhm.
Is like I think it's like something like boundary manipulation, and like uh, especially back in the earlier days, I that was like an important thing for me was trying to find a song that like was either like literally titled for what I was going for or like
Mhm.
kind of fit the bill, just in terms of tone and overall like general aesthetic. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if you want to play the song or not, but
Yeah, I'll start it, and you can just talk
yeah,
over it.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, as far as what I was going for is like, I guess, very interesting like stuff that like, as far as like stealth goes or like, um, yeah, stealth was the big thing, and then there was like a few, yeah, if you see here, like there's a few jumps that come up like kind of a jump scare, if you will.
Mhm.
uh,
Oh, I got
that's like
scared.
that was like another thing that I was going for, is as far as like very, I guess like boundary breaking things,
Okay.
so to speak,
Is
if that
this
makes sense.
Yeah, is this how the character's special ability works in the game?
For the last half, this part, I think it kind of does, yeah.
Okay.
I think one of her special abilities is like screen wrapping, so
Okay.
like you can literally go from the left side to the right side of the screen in the actual game and vice versa.
Okay, so this
uh,
one is the character's ability.
Yeah, and like you'll see in a second that there's like yin yang balls, which those are actually mines. Um,
Mhm.
Definitely don't hit those. They're just there for show. Yeah, those.
Oh, why are they yinging
Um,
balls?
That has a lot to do with the character. So,
Gotcha. Um,
um,
so are these arrows like the correct arrows that you should be hitting? Like, are the is this up down?
yeah, like if you're looking at it like straight and like not tilting your head yourself,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they definitely are the correct direction. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, no, that is. I always die at the mine part with the
oh yeah.
thing. I can't.
Yeah, I think just looking back on it, there's definitely a lot of parts, especially in the first half, that are like they don't have enough reaction time. They're kind of referred to in the community nowadays as reaction funny.
Reaction funny.
Yeah, as far as like, yeah, you see something happen, but you just don't have enough time to physically react to it in step. I think that stage in the first half suffered a lot from that. Like, not only from the jumps that appeared halfway up the screen, but like also when the targets went to the center and like it was on split as far as like the two left columns, left and down, coming from the bottom, and then the up and right coming from the top. That was a lot as far as like even the speed mod is concerned. I think it was too high. But you know, it's definitely a learning experience.
So that's what you would change if you made it again nowadays. Just more reaction time in general.
Yeah, more reaction time, and then definitely making the steps easier, at least in the first half, because just looking back on it, I think there's way too many jumps.
There's a lot of jumps. It's like all jumps. But that's kind of what like step charts were like back in the days. Everyone had like crater pads, so everyone did jumps.
Yeah.
So this next one is called Golden Slaughterer, and it's the 5th stage of WinDEU Hates You 5 ever. So what's the context behind this chart? Lore-wise, theme-wise, just time of your life-wise.
So let's see. As far as the lore is concerned, we had a lot of fun with this one. It was me and Spooty that co-wrote this tournament, like the script, and it was completely Portal themed.
Nice.
Yeah. So after this stage, GLaDOS wound up being like the final boss of the tournament, like for the extra stage. And the whole like premise of the tournament was like, it's essentially more or less like Portal itself, where like you're these like test subjects in GLaDOS's lab, and you're just undergoing tests as far as like how well you can do in couples charts and how well you can do in mods charts. And what GLaDOS did in the tournament for the story is like she kidnapped all these like different creatures from different dimensions. So like the whole concept of just focusing on the Toho universe or like the MLP universe, that's kind of out the window. We're doing whatever now.
Okay.
Right, so this is from this character is Beatrice from Umineko. I haven't watched or like read I think their visual novels myself, but yeah, I heard this song, specifically the remix, Taishi's, I forget what exactly the full name is, but like I think the remix is actually like 10 minutes long, so this is a cut version.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I heard this and just kept listening to it, like on the drive to and from work. I just like kept getting ideas in my mind. I just kind of went from there. And I think this is one of the instances where like the song and the ideas for the song came before like the lore placement of like, how am I going to fit this into the story? Like that actually came second, and I think it worked out pretty well for that.
Okay, let's start it.
So I think this beginning, I think Infinity Plus One came before this, I want to say. So it's kind of a callback to that Arrow Vortex thing.
Yeah, no, it's very, very atmospheric. I really like how it looks.
Yeah, this especially for stage 5, I definitely always want to have like some kind of feeling of finality. So I mean, the song itself does such a good job on its own, honestly.
It does sound like a very epic song, like a nice final song.
Yeah. As far as the chart goes, like the steps, I think it worked out pretty well. Like it's definitely not too hard, which is something I had issues with before in previous stage 5s, especially with like The first tournament I know was like, it was probably a 13. I want to say this is maybe like a mid-ish 11. But yeah, this is also where like I found out how to do mods that are independent of players. Like, so player 1 has the targets on the top and it's normal. Player 2 has the targets on the bottom. And it's switching back and forth between one of them being like 90% stealth and the other being 90% stealth. So like all the notes and all the information's always there.
Yeah.
But like what's being focused on changes like every couple measures.
Yeah, like, and that's flipping between like the up and down of like what you're supposed to be like focusing on. Okay. So this one makes sense to me. I could read this, sort of.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to choose this one. This is like, I think the one as far as tournaments are concerned that I'm like most happy with this, as far as like just general fairness in both mods and the charts and just like enjoyability is concerned.
Okay. Why do you think you nailed that? Was it just tournament reaction, or like did it just get really good feedback?
I mean, I'm sure it's, yeah, I want to say it's like a combination of both, really. Yeah, there's parts near the end. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
If you want to stop that, I can talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
There's, oh god, there's actually so much to talk about as far as just this goes.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like, the way ITG note skins work, so there's 3D objects, right? The notes themselves. And the way, I guess, their depth works is there's something called screen orientation, right? Which is normally just like 0, 0, the top left of the screen. And what I'm doing here is I'm moving like literally the entire screen, which was a thing we found out we can do like maybe around this time as far as like how to make sim files. And I counter moved the playfield in the background, if that makes sense. So like from a camera and viewer perspective, they're standing still, but like the screen and the playfields are essentially like splitting apart like this, and like the movements canceling each other out. So the playfield stays still, but the orientation of the screen is like going way, way in the corner.
Okay.
And that's what's causing that like really weird diagonal projection.
Interesting, because it's trying to have that really far view of the arrow, right? Okay.
And actually, yeah, in this video, this is a really funny thing. So there's what's called song options. I think it pertains to like the music rate and like your fail type. So just like fail off, fail immediate, fail end of song. And I think if you look really closely for a frame, you can see like the literal options text flying past the screen.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah, because like for whatever reason, like this is just a vanilla Stepmania theme thing. The options text is there, like it's not on the screen, but like it's just moved off to some like off camera, off screen position.
Okay.
So like if you move the literal screen, you can like find it.
That's funny. I'll have to scoop a frame of that.
You can probably like see it when the arrows are coming back. I don't know if you can catch it right now.
Maybe, yeah, let's see if we can. Oh yeah, I just saw it. It was totally in there.
I think just in general, this tournament was where I found out how to do like moving away from courses somewhat. Not fully just yet. I think that came about in 401k, which is the last 2022, or the most recent. But yeah, this one definitely delved into like what we generally use now, just like a Lua FG change kind of setup. So like the way we're like I'm moving the top. It's called the top screen, like the whole screen itself, like literally the screen. We use this is all done by like FG changes. So like it's kind of a callback to like when I was talking about Mint's rap chop video or sim file, where like threw down a picture of a potato when he said like here's a potato. That kind of call is like the same thing that is letting me manipulate the screen itself.
Really? That's interesting. I thought that was just for like showing GIFs and stuff.
Yeah, so I guess how Stepmania works as far as like, I think foreground changes mainly, is that you can either do .ini files, which is like a pretty standard configuration file, like even outside of Stepmania.
Yeah.
So there's that. You can't do too much with that as far as I know, but there's also things called XML files. And it's generally used for the same thing as far as like actors and layers, like just showing pictures. But you can actually use Lua scripting if you use XML files. I don't believe you can do that for INI files, but yeah, if you go into like, well, actually, I guess you can. If you go to the metrics.ini for like any given theme, you'll find some form of like small Lua scripting in there. It's essentially the same thing we do as far as like in XML files. Like we can just like put an actor, like a blank dummy actor, and then like a function that calls like all of this.
Gotcha. That's cool.
I was still using CRS files for the majority of stuff back then, but XML files were how we did top screen calls like this and like individual player moving. It's actually another good thing I want to talk about. Before we knew how to do all that with going through the XML files to like manipulate screens and players like that, we had to do theme side stuff, which is extremely inconvenient for pretty much everyone involved. Like when I had to release this stuff eventually, just like for tournament files for anyone to play, people had to change their themes.
Oh.
And it was not a fun time to try and like play tech support for that.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, but nowadays it's just like literal like plug and play.
That's what when you sent me that new .itg file is so simple relative to any time that I've like done any mod stuff in the past.
Oh yeah, it's so much better now.
Do you have anything else to say about this chart?
That's, I want to say, the first real time I've delved into individual player mods, which you have to do in, like I mentioned earlier, XML files. You can't do that in .crs files. Like any mods that you throw into CRS files, they're automatically applied to both players. So, yeah, I think that was the start of like how it changed how I approach things as far as like making mods and what is really capable of being done.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's interesting that way more so than I guess like the tech or stamina side of things, how much mods are like tied to the like technology that you'll find out like through the XML files and course files and programming and all like these innovations people make.
Oh, actually, speaking of tech files, I know there are a couple of people who have successfully snuck some modifier charts into tech events.
Ooh.
Like there's Taro's Pom 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 Go Dyson Saw. I might have pronounced that wrong. I probably did. But yeah, there's like just a sprinkling of modifiers here and there. Do you know Zaya?
Yes.
Yeah. I know he's done some modifier charts as well. He started getting into that. The one that comes to mind that I played recently is Super Reactor. I thought that was really fun. I don't know. It's always a nice refresher. Well, maybe not refreshers. Like a nice thing to see where like these different like subsets of communities kind of
Yeah.
collide into this nice like sim file of this is mostly tech, but you know there's also some modifiers. There's a little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah.
Omid's definitely another huge person as far as that's concerned. Like I see him playing not ITG stuff on his stream sometimes. I've seen him make mod files. Well, maybe not like mod focused files because I think it's still like mostly tech based, but yeah, he's definitely delved into some mod stuff, and it's pretty awesome to see.
That's very cool. Anything else on this chart, or shall we move on to the last one?
You can move on to the last one.
I'm gonna have to edit this out. I totally just spelled your name in the folder.
It's fine. It's actually the name of the Star Wars character that everyone thinks the name comes from.
Oh.
I've gotten that a lot.
So this one is... You're gonna have to remind me the name of this because it's long.
Ghost Family Living in Graveyard.
Yes. Okay, so what's the context on this one?
Actually released this one on Halloween because I wanted, Halloween of last year. I just wanted to make something kind of spooky themed.
Spooky Halloween. And this interview is probably released around Halloween, so it's like relatively...
Oh yeah, that works.
It's thematic. We did this on purpose.
But yeah, I think aside from like just a kind of a warm-up file that I did a while back, this is like my big dive into not ITG stuff that I like. The first file I was really proud of as far as not ITG was concerned, I want to say.
Okay, so when you say not ITG, do you mean like the tools that not ITG gives you for mod files that you're like now adopting?
Yeah, as far as like what not ITG is capable of.
Gotcha.
Because vanilla ITG is very limited in comparison. Not ITG is like can very much do a lot of things, or pretty much close to whatever you want.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So this is the first not ITG chart that you are proud of. Let us take a look.
Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, actually, yeah, if you want to stop it here. Yeah, so this whole, like, playfield circling the arrows that are coming towards it, I thought for the longest time that was a non-ITG exclusive thing, but thanks to Kaidash, I found out that you can do this in vanilla ITG, and I still to this day don't know how that works.
Oh.
I just know how it works with not ITG. I did do it in a vanilla ITG file though. Cytokinesis, if you want to look that one up at some point.
I would. I probably will. Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the way I did it here is I think not ITG exclusive if I remember right. So yeah, this is like one of the first instances of like, oh okay, here's not ITG exclusive things. And like right afterwards, you'll see another one where the targets project outward, and it's kind of like an interesting driven drop clock, if you want to think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want to play it up to that part.
Okay. Yeah, this part.
Mm-hmm.
That was very cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I heard the song Ensemble Text. The chart for an Ensemble Text is very, very difficult, but like, I was really into Rush Gunch's stuff. I still am, like, at the time. But, yeah, I just really love the energy of the song.
Yeah, it's
a ton.
there's a lot of stuff going on. Like things you can mod. Where do you look? This is a for me thing. Like,
Oh, this part? Or
yeah, just all of it. Just all of it. Like, okay, where do you look during this? Like, what's like the strategy for this one?
For that part, it's basically just like there's this, I guess, reading technique in mod file, like playing mod files, called chunking, where like I guess mental screenshot is the best way to describe it. So like,
Okay.
so take this frame that you're paused on, for example. You see like the information you're seeing right now. You try and digest that and like parse it to what we need to play with your feet, and you just do that for like little chunks, so to speak, at a time.
Okay.
That's a really big part of mod reading, I would say.
Okay.
Not only just reading by arrow direction and arrow color, but also like using that information to just kind of create a buffer, mental screenshots, chunking for yourself, so
Okay.
that like, yeah, it's basically just a constant, I guess, management of information that you're receiving, if that makes sense.
Yes, got you. Okay.
And being able to read just different types of configurations normally, like if they stay there, definitely helps with that technique of like chunking and making buffers for yourself.
Okay.
In non-ATG also there's these things called shaders, which like I'm sure if you are familiar just like with how games apply certain screen effects, it's kind of the same concept here. Like it's literally just working with just the OpenGL language. So this is like a completely different concept as far as like mods are concerned. Like it's a different file, different format, and everything. Like I'm pretty sure it's like C based. So
Yeah, I've done OpenGL programming for something completely unrelated to this.
yeah,
I'm somewhat familiar.
and I'm gonna be honest, I still am very, very, very much new to this kind of graphics programming. So I definitely have to ask for a lot of help.
Okay, so is
with
that
stuff.
what this part is? This the OpenGL programming?
Yeah, so like the old film effect with like the vertical white lines. It's actually something I found on, if you're familiar with the website Shader Toy.
I'm not, no.
Okay. Shader Toy is essentially like there's people who create graphical shaders, and they just like kind of share their pieces with the world. And I essentially just like look at the code and manipulate it in a slight way to match not-ITG's formatting, because I think they do it slightly differently as far as how everything works. But yeah, I think if you go into the .frag file, which is the shader, you can see like the credit and the link to the original shadertoy.com file.
Interesting. I'll have to pull up on the screen, but let's
Yeah, I picked this file in particular because yeah, I did a lot of not ITG exclusive stuff. The background, like with the like swiveling, it's actually another really simple shader thing. Like, yeah, I messed around with shaders a bunch. It's fun.
It is. It looks cool too. Yeah, you get this like Earthbound thing going in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, I picked this one because I think it's one of the more solid files I made for not ITG, or maybe even the most solid. as far as like readability and fairness is concerned, I don't know if I rated it correctly as far as like the current mod scale goes. It's rated a 13. I think everyone says it's a 15.
Oh.
So you know.
Yeah, I've known that's like a. Yeah, because like y'all are on like a 1 to 20 scale now.
Yeah, we used to. There was no like official mod scale back in the day. So with Mods Boot Camp 1 and 2 anyway, we just had a 1 to 4. I don't even know if I want to say difficulty. It was just literally like the tiers that the sim files were in. But we moved on to like an official, I think, 1 to 10 scale, and then eventually a 1 to 20 scale, which is what Mods Boot Camp 3 initially started. And I think 1 to 20 is a really good scale just for a lot of game-related stuff, especially for like rhythm games. DDR essentially uses it. I know there's no official 20s. Sound Voltex uses it. 1 to 20 seems to have worked out pretty well, at least for the mod file community side of things.
Very cool. Well, do you have anything else to say about this chart?
Well, actually, yeah, if you want to go back to near the end of it,
Okay.
I just wanted to point out a cute nod to the Sound Voltex chart. I don't know if you're familiar with it at all.
I've only played a little bit of Sound Voltex.
Yeah, if you see like the bigger notes coming up on the sides,
Yeah.
that's actually a very deliberate nod to what the Sound Voltex chart does. Like, because the maximum 19 for Ghost Family, Living in Graveyard, it's like probably the most infamous one as far as like it being known for crossovers is concerned. Actually, I have my controller here if I could put it on camera real quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, explain it to me.
So, yeah, it basically just goes like button, cross, and then button, cross, button,
Oh,
cross.
gotcha. Yeah.
That's a huge thing that file is known for. And yeah, the whole like huge notes going to the sides is like a very deliberate call to that.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's cute. That is very cute. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's all I had to say on that chart.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Actually, I can say something about something else about the chart. You don't have to pull it up again, but like that was one of the files where I'm like, I had momentum going into it, and then like it just kind of dropped off for like half a year or so.
Oh.
And then I finally picked it up again. I've been doing that for a couple of mod file projects lately. Like another one that just came out recently was Enigma. That was one I had on the back burner for like probably over a year. And at the moment, I'm working on something called Fourth Genesis. If you don't mind me plugging that real quick.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. What you call it? Plug whatever you want to plug.
Yeah. So Fourth Genesis is essentially just all of the songs that I used in Tier 4 of Mods Boot Camp 1. So that's Alpha Omega, Elastic's Riots, Firestorm, Deadlock, and Pieces of a Dream.
Okay.
So those 5 songs, they have long versions. So I'm going to be using those in a sim file pack. Basically just making, long version mod files with not ITG compatibility and like just kind of callbacks to the originals here and there, but with like new added twists. So I think that'll be a fun pack once it comes out. That's another thing that I started back in 2018.
Oh.
Yeah, 2018, right? Like 3 years ago, and just recently started picking back up like a month or 2 ago. So because I just got the motivation and the drive for it again.
Awesome. Where can everybody download your sim files?
Let's see. I have mod files. I think I have videos of them on my YouTube channel. If you just like go into my YouTube channel and search within my channel for just not ITG.
Link in the description.
Yeah. There's that. There's also I have a bunch of full difficulty double sim files that I've made. Probably just, yeah, I can link in the description, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll throw the links in the description. I also noticed when I was going around your YouTube to try to find the lineouts for these, you also stream.
Yep, just twitch.tv/WinDEU. Mostly double. Sometimes I do mod charts. That's the main thing I do.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm really bad at outros.